Good afternoon, my name is Jeffrey Lashley. Today is November 10th, 2024. Happy birthday, Marines. This is week 3 of FTH 223. First things first, I will go over and show that there is a clear weapon. Everything is free of ammunition, and my workspace has no live ammunition in it. So, going to go over the cycle of operations for a SAR B6. The dry portion of it, we'll discuss the motions of it, but then I will have dummy ammunition snap caps that I will go over and show the actual feeding and whatnot. So starting out, so normally you would load a magazine and you would feed the round in, and it would chamber. At that time it would lock. The locking portion of this is whenever the actual slide, the breech are coming together and locking right there. Nothing rotates on this pistol, so it's just as the spring and the force keeps it forward, it is locking in that sense. Firing, weapon was on safe. Firing is when you pull the trigger and the hammer drops. I left my finger pulled back on the trigger because I want to hear the mechanism in the actual trigger housing reset. Once I cock it again and let off, you'll hear a click, just like that. That is everything in the mechanism, the trigger mechanism resetting. From there, unlocking, once the round is fired, it will unlock. If you see at this point in time, the barrel and the slide face here is actually sliding back slightly together, and then right there it disconnects, and that is the unlocking portion of it. And at this time it would extract the round from the chamber, and the ejector here on the side that has a hold of the rim of the cartridge will fling it out, which will eject it, and at that time it cocks the hammer back again. You can also cock whenever, if you're doing it double action, pulling the trigger. See how the hammer is cocking back, and therefore that is the dry portion of it. Now putting in a magazine with dummy rounds, I racked it fast because that's how it's intended to be. At that time you would see that there's actually ammunition in the chamber. So at this time I have fed, chambered, and locked. Then we would fire. It would unlock, extract, and eject, cocking all in one, and then it goes through the motion again, over and over. And then we had a malfunction, so I would go through and find out why it didn't catch on that last one and eject it properly. Moving on next to the, I will do a field strip and show those positions, or those parts, and discuss the sub-assemblies. Alright, so I've field stripped the SAR B6 sub-assembly magazine. I would make sure that the magazine, the spring, and everything functioned properly, and the base was on as it's supposed to be. I have the slide. I would inspect the slide, the rails. I did inspect the housing, the sights, and make sure that basically it's not damaged to the point where it will not slide onto the lower receiver properly. The damage on the outer portion of this is, it doesn't really matter as long as it doesn't affect the ejector or the firing pin, the striker, on the rear of the slide. Make sure that the barrel tube is not damaged and not ovaled or oblong or egg-shaped or anything like that, and also for the guide rod as well. But other than that, it's pretty cut and dry. The barrel check the barrel, check the crown, make sure that there's no chips, no problems. Check internally for built-up corrosion or carbon or lead. Check the pin retainer area here. This is what it actually rides on whenever it slips back and forth. Make sure this is not damaged or out of specs. Make sure that the feed ramp is smooth and polished. Make sure the guide rod and the spring are not damaged. Check them over, make sure they're straight, and make sure the elasticity of the spring is still good. Lower receiver, checking all parts on the lower receiver. Magazine release, trigger housing. You can make sure that everything is operational and functional. You can go through the motion without the slide being on top. Make sure the safety works, and make sure that the nothing can happen while the safety is on. Other than that, it's a polymer lower receiver, so therefore it doesn't it can break. If it abused, it will break, but overall they can have little chips and little scars and scratches in them and all that, but you're making sure that all your pins that are supposed to be in there are still there. Okay, moving on, I'm going to go ahead and do a full disassemble, and I'll get back to you. All right, here's the exploded view of the SAR B6 taken apart. And here is my drawing. I also have a picture of it I will submit of my precision measurements. Very crude drawing at that. But I'm going to go ahead and put it back together and get my assignment submitted. All right, the final result here, still have a clear pistol. Checking it, no ammo in my workspace. So this was not completely easy to put this back together, but it is back together and functions properly. Everything works as advertised. All right, so this concludes this week, week number 3's assignment. Thank you.